Warren, the Eagles no longer favored in the division after losing to the Seahawks, while the Giants in Washington moved ahead of them in the standings. Who do you think wins the NFC East now?
Well, it's actually interesting because the Eagles and Washington have similar schedules in that both are extremely difficult. They're the sixth and seventh most difficult schedules in the NFL in terms of what they face down the road. The Giants are right in the middle of the pack in terms of overall schedule difficulty, whereas the Cowboys have the third easiest schedule. They may be the benefactors of facing a depleted Baltimore Ravens team that's playing on a short week. And then they close the season playing two divisional games. They play Washington and they play Philadelphia. So I think Dallas actually, they're projected to finish last in this division, but as tightly packed as it is, if they get a little lucky against Baltimore, there is a chance that they could be the dark horse here. But I think the team that has the easiest path to the division is probably the Giants at this current point in time, as long as Daniel Jones doesn't miss too much time.
I hate to ask this question, but give me a percent chance that, in your view, the Eagles do win the division.
I think that there's probably like a 35% chance that the Eagles can win this thing. They're certainly not favored to do so. They're the third longest odds remaining by the betting markets to take this division. But I do think that they're a team, and we'll talk about it momentarily. If a few bounces go their way instead of going against them, they got an outside shot to actually pull the outright upset against the Green Bay Packers, as crazy as that might sound, and that could project them back into the thick of things.
All right, so let's talk about that a little bit because the Eagles are heavy underdog to the pack. Will this end up as a double-digit line, and do you think this will be a close game at all?
I think it will not end up as a double digit line. We've already seen a little bit of action from the sharper betting groups early in the week, driving what was a 10-point underdog line for the Eagles down to 9-point and 8.5-point at some locations. And so I think there is some money that's looking at this team and saying, look, the Chicago Bears were just playing the Green Bay Packers last week, and they were not as underdogs as much as the Eagles were. So there's no way to justify that the Eagles should be a double-digit underdog against this Packers team. Now, we know that it's been up and down, hit and miss for the Philadelphia Eagles. They really have not been able to get on the same page. And a lot of what they've done against some of the better teams in the NFL has come in the fourth quarter, in garbage time, so to speak, getting back into the game by getting a little bit more desperate offensively. But the one interesting thing is that I think they match up fairly well with the Packers defense. I think that their usage of running back passes and tight end passes should take advantage of where the Packers are weak. The Packers are stronger at the perimeter defensively with their corners, but they're weaker at the linebacker position, and the Eagles can attack that. Similarly, you can run on the Green Bay Packers a little bit. And the Eagles really did not get a great game out of Miles Sanders last week, but I think that they'll find that it's easier to run against the Packers, might be able to create some more things, running a little bit more inside zone against the Packers here. And I think open up things, make life easier on Carson Wentz, not rely solely on his arm, which, I mean, obviously it hasn't been great from a decision-making perspective. If there's a couple things he can clean up there, we'll see. They could definitely stand a good chance at stealing this game, in my opinion.
What would you do with Carson Wentz beyond this year, Warren?
It is tough because of the salary cap issues and because of his contract, which obviously they just extended not long ago. But there is a chance that a lot of what he's dealing with this season could be extraneous factors. My bigger concern from him has been something that I don't know how you fix, but it's a decision-making element of it. It's the decisions to hang in the pocket, or it's the decisions to throw certain passes. Every single game, it seems like there's a couple of situations where he's creating a catastrophic mistake that is hurting the Eagles' chances of winning. I'm not talking about he misses an open receiver and sails one high out of bounds. I'm talking about sack fumble. I'm talking about interception. I'm talking about critical plays, and he seems to have these issues every single week that I don't know if they are fixable. I don't know what has happened with him, because I thought this season, when he finally, it looked like maybe would have a healthy offensive line, healthy wide receiving core. We know that really hasn't been the case for him, unfortunately, but this is the first year in several that he's entered the season without having to overcome an offseason surgery or offseason injury that has ended his prior seasons. So I expected more running, more mobility, more comfort in the pocket, and we really haven't gotten very many of those things from him this season. I don't know that the book or the ship has sailed. The book is written on what Carson Wentz's career could be. I certainly think he's not giving you your money's worth this season at present, but I don't know that this means that he's completely broken and we can't ever get anything out of him for another season or two.
Roto World's Warren Sharp, we thank you very much for the insight.